Hello and welcome to interest.co.nz. I'm Gareth Vaughan with 90 at 9, where we wrap up the key overseas news in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, starting now. We kick off today with news that China plans to set up more private banks to increase financial support for small firms, Reuters is reporting. The Chinese cabinet says it'll promote trials to initiate the establishment of private banks responsible for their own risks, as well as financial leasing companies and consumer finance companies and other financial institutions. Maybe there could even be a role here for the higher-owned Fisher and Paykel Finance. The government also says it'll support the establishment of more village banks and credit companies. China's massive state-owned banks have channeled most of their borrowing to state firms and local government. China Minsheng Bank, Banking Corp, is the only private bank among the country's 10 biggest commercial lenders, even though small and medium-sized enterprises comprise 60% of Chinese GDP and 75% of new jobs, or create 75% of new jobs, but are struggling with weaker global demand and tight credit at the moment. Meanwhile, over in the US, the government's budget deficit for the 10 months to July is down 38% from the same period of last year. The deficit narrowed to $607.4 billion US dollars from $973.8 billion US dollars in the previous year. For the year to September 30th, the Obama administration projects the deficit will shrink to $759 billion US dollars, which, believe it or not, would actually be the smallest one in 5 years. More tax and payments to the Treasury from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac as the US housing market improves are helping. Now for some news on the virtual currency Bitcoin. New York's top banking regulator has subpoenaed 22 digital currency companies as it moves to decide whether new regulations should be introduced to oversee the emerging industry, according to Bloomberg. Describing virtual currencies as a virtual Wild West for narco-traffickers and other criminals, New York's Department of Financial Services said it was considering whether it should issue new regulatory guidelines specific to virtual currencies. The subpoenas went to service providers as well as investors in the sector. Meanwhile, on the New Zealand dollar front this morning, the trade-weighted index is at 75.25. I'm Gareth Vaughan at interest.co.nz, and that's 90 seconds at 9 a.m.